the true thing, the true north, the thing that is supposed to stay forever is what you have to focus on. Then you can have different ideas, but you really have to get that foundation built first.
How do you know when you're out of balance? You know because you're inconsistent. If you can't be consistent at something, that's when you know you have too many ideas. Because ideas are only good if they get executed, if they get implemented.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another very special, as always, episode of Next Level University, where we teach you how to level up your life, your love, your health, and your wealth. Were you looking for a message in that bottle? We hope you enjoyed our latest episode. It was last week's live Q&A. Today, for episode number 732, can you have too many ideas? So we will preface it with ideas are amazing, and obviously ideas are what create things. But if you have too many ideas without action, you just get overwhelmed and confused, and you don't make progress towards your goals.
100%.
So we'll preface it with that.
So the very first, how do I want to frame this?
Let me do a boomerang while you deliberate over there.
Let's do it. So this is something that I've started calling, well, in the tech industry, it's called feature creep, and I'll give you an example. So back when I used to work at iRobot as an intern, I worked in the home robotics division, and basically I was on the product management team, and there was a Roomba, there was a Scuba, there was a bunch of different robots. What?
I just love when we dive into Alan's past careers.
Yeah.
It just makes you laugh. Because I always learn something, too.
Really?
Yeah, honestly, I do.
It was honestly one of my favorite jobs. It was great. They actually gave us Fridays off. Or no, Fridays were half days. Awesome.
I'm waiting on that.
Anyways, iRobot's a great company. But we were a global product management team. And there was a bunch of different types of robots. There was the Roomba. That's the one they're most known for. The vacuum that is a robot that vacuums for you. Awesome.
Great
awesome
idea.
Product. And what feature creep means is basically like trying to make the robot do a bunch of different functions at the expense of the main function. So, for example, your iPhone. The iPhone was really famous for this when it first came out. It was focused on the main three things that matter most, which is making the phone work, having an iPod, and having a smartphone that connects to the internet so it can do email. And basically, have you guys ever used, so if you're out there listening, have you ever used an app or a product that they tried to do too much with it and it kind of took away from the core reason you bought the thing, right? And so that's what a feature creep is someone who's an engineer in the tech industry who wants to make the app do everything kind of at the expense of the main thing. And simplicity is the ultimate form of sophistication, and basically that's what a philosopher, I think it was Socrates, said. Keeping things simple. The reason why, Apple became so successful is because their products are so simple to use. They're very easy to use. Their user interface is beautiful. They're very aesthetically pleasing. That's what Steve Jobs was famous for. But what Kevin and I want to talk to you about on this episode is not to be a feature creep in your own life. In other words, the main thing is to keep the main thing the main thing. So in your relationship, for example, Emilia, one of her main love languages is food. She loves to sit down and eat food together. Awesome. So let's make sure I do that because that matters more to her than most of the other things. And so everybody has tons of ideas, especially in the self-improvement industry. There's a lot of ideas. Another example I'll give you is I have a lot of ideas of books I want to write. I want to write a fitness book on the 6 fundamental
What's
pillars.
the other one?
Oxygen. Breathing
That's
properly.
important.
It is.
Yeah,
breathing.
that's probably the number one.
Yeah, it's number one. Yep, number one.
Overlooked that one for a while. Good thing we didn't drop that book.
Yeah, I know.
Lost all that credibility.
Good thing we didn't drop the book. But there's one of them's optimizing for fulfillment. One of them is going to be, I found out Business Made Simple is actually a title that's taken, so it'd be something different
Donald
than that.
Miller.
Business book, optimizing for fulfillment, happiness book. One's going to be a fitness book. The point is, though, is I've never really sat down. I actually did. I created the manuscript for one of my books. But Kevin just hammered.
That's my bad.
Kevin just hammered his water on the ground.
Sorry about that.
Gronk spike. So, anyways, the idea behind this episode is that a lot of people come into the NLU team or the NLU community and they have a lot of ideas. But that actually is the problem. Because when you have too many ideas, it creates overwhelm. And you lose sight of the tried and true fundamentals that are simple and that just need to happen. me writing I have a client right now who's writing 3 paragraphs a day, every single day, 17 days straight. So proud of her. See, if I had done that one simple habit of 3 paragraphs a day, every day for a year, I'd have a book written instead of all these ideas about books. And so I'm as guilty of feature creep as anyone else in that specific arena, but I do think Kevin and I are really good at keeping things simple in most parts of our lives.
I know with a lot of my podcast clients, it's very much, what do you think of this idea? Should we be doing this? Should we be doing this? And it's almost like, why don't we focus on consistency first? Like, we just got a new client recently. And we've gotten a lot of new clients recently, which I'm super grateful for. But this person was asking me, like, what do you think of this? What do you think of this? What do you think of this? Or do you think it's the fact that I haven't been consistent? I said, it's the fact that you haven't been consistent.
Yeah.
That's the main thing. We have to, like Alan said, you got to keep the main thing the main thing. There's a million different things you can do for your podcast. There's a million different things you can do for your business. There's a million different exercises you can do. There's a million different diets you can do. There's a lot of different ideas that you can add on to a fundamental, but if you're not doing the fundamentals first,
right,
then you're jeffing. And I think it's probably important that we talk about people who are variety driven. So I think that's part of it. I want you to speak to it first, because I know I really leaned into podcast coaching, and Alan's really leaned into peak performance mindset / peak performance life optimization, peak performance business. So he's talking a lot more about people's behind the scenes, where I'm talking more about podcasting. So I want to hear your perspective on what does a variety-driven individual do, because they value having a lot of ideas, because they like variety, and that's a good thing. That's, one of their love languages or one of their human needs. What do they do, and how do they lock in on sticking to the fundamentals, and how do you know when you have too many ideas? Like, what's the line of demarcation, do you think? And I'm sure it's not that straightforward, but
no, I appreciate the question. So I think that you have the masculine and feminine energy. I think the masculine energy is very one thing at a time, very focused, very structured. And again, let me do this. Left hemisphere of the brain and right hemisphere of the brain. The left hemisphere of the brain is extremely structure and mathematical and systems and syntax. Syntax means order of importance. So like consistency first, like Kevin said, then the next thing. Whereas the right side of the brain is very creative, very intuitive, it's about the interrelationships of things. And that's where the variety craving comes in, is the right side of the brain. So if you're working in perfect harmony with your left and right hemispheres of your brain, aka your masculine and your feminine, then you have the right amount of structure, and then you allow the creative energy to flow within the structure. I'll give you a simple example. So doing this podcast, 1 episode per day, every single day, forever, that's the structure, okay? Now, what we get to talk about within that structure is the creative process. But you need one first in order to have the other be successful, versus other people who want a podcast one day, do IG Lives this other day, do Facebook Lives this other day, and then go on and do YouTube the other day, instead of, okay, the podcast is the main thing. Now we're going to do that consistently, and then we're going to also be on YouTube. And then we're also going to repurpose teaser clips on Instagram. And so I think the key is to find, your question was, how do you know when you're out of balance? You know because you're inconsistent. If you can't be consistent at something, that's when you know you have too many ideas. Because ideas are only good if they get executed, if they get implemented. Kevin and I, very blessed at this point to have an 11-person global team on the NLU team. We care more about consistency and reliability than ever before. Honestly, at this point, talent is secondary. It's not even remotely close. I could care less if you have natural talent. I genuinely do not care if you can't be consistent and reliable. And I would say for anyone out there listening, if you're super variety driven in today's world, you're set up for failure. And here's why. On your phone, you have more variety at your fingertips. You can watch any movie on the planet from anywhere in the world on your phone. That never existed before. So people who are variety driven, there's a million apps, quite literally. There's a million apps of video games on this phone. When I was a kid, we had Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis, regular Nintendo. We had, N64 and PlayStation.
And then Dreamcast
And Dreamcast came along, and that's when Kevin and I really met and played Dynamite Cop, and we were best friends after that.
Yes.
No, I'm just joking, but we did actually play Dynamite Cop together in Dreamcast. But the point is that we had to go out of our way for variety. Variety is at your fingertips at all times. It's so easy to allow your variety-driven nature to take over your life when there's so many options all the time. And so what you need to do is create a give-up list. You need to decide, you know what? No, I'm not going to play games on my phone. I'm going to delete them. I'm telling you, your life will get better. Okay, I'm only going to open Netflix in the evenings. I'm not going to ever try to do Netflix during lunchtime. I mean, I've done this. A lot of times after the gym, if I go to the gym in the morning, I like to watch something while I eat.
Yeah, same.
And what I used to do, and this was a bad idea, is I'd try to watch some of a movie in the morning, but then I'd be thinking about that movie all day. What I do now is I eat while watching, Insane Productivity by Darren Hardy, or some form of a personal development motivating, because your days are supposed to ramp up, not down. And I realize that I'm very conditioned to once the movie's on, I'm kind of done for the day. And that's why when we travel, Kevin and I always watch Friends in the evening at Nick at Night and while we eat food. But you have to understand yourself. You have to understand your variety-driven nature. Kevin and I allow the variety to flow within the structure. If you're out there right now and you're better at variety, you need to work on structure. If you're better at structure, you probably might need to work on variety. And I know the engineering types from my past in college. They'll do the same thing every single day, and they could use a little more creative freedom. But most people, if I'm honest, are variety-driven, and it's absolutely jeffing them.
I think about it like a house. You have to build the house. The house is the consistency. The house is the fundamentals. The house is the big idea, and then the variety is the furniture you put in. Like, you can put a really cool lamp in.
Right.
But the house is... all houses are built the same.
Literally,
they have
for the most part.
Yeah, for the most part.
Yeah.
They have a foundation. They have the walls. They have the 2x. They have the plywood, and then they have the weatherproofing stuff. Like, maybe they have a basement or whatever. They have the foundation. But I remember when Clubhouse came out, a lot of people, and again, for some people, it probably was the right play. But everybody and their mother...
I don't hear about it anymore.
I think it kind of...
trickled off
a little bit, I think. But everybody messaged Alan and I had clients ask me, and we had friends ask us, and mentors and mentees. They were saying, like, what's your thought on Clubhouse? And I always remember saying, like, if you have somewhere to bring people, cool. But if you think you're just going to jump on Clubhouse and that's going to be the thing that changes your life, I just don't see it happening. And I think it's like that with most people. Yeah, when Instagram started, somebody jumped on Instagram and made a career out of it, sure.
Yeah.
But it's very few.
What's going on, everybody? My name is Branden Lowe. I am the host of the Decide and Design podcast, and I'm also part of the NLU team. I wanted to give a shout out to Kevin and Alan real quick. So when I first started working for Kevin and Alan, they asked me, what kind of skills do you have? What can you bring to the table? And I was honest and transparent with them. I was like, I don't have a lot of computer skills. I don't have a lot of sales skills or business skills, but I'm willing to work hard. And they decided to take a chance on me and give me a huge opportunity based off of my character. And when they did that, that really showed me what types of people that Kevin and Alan are. I mean, amazing guys who really have been mentoring me, coaching me, and taking me under their wing and completely changing my life. I now host a podcast. I'm on the team. I'm connecting with amazing people, and I'm becoming the man that I was truly meant to be, and it's because of these two amazing guys. I have nothing but amazing things to say about them. I love you guys. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity, and if you have the chance to work with Kevin and Alan, I highly, highly recommend it.
Right. Very few people have made YouTube channels that have, created wealth and freedom for themselves. It seems like there's a lot of people because we consume a lot of people, but it's not that many in the grand scheme.
And the ones you're consuming are the successful ones.
Yeah, the most successful.
That's the most successful.
Most likely the most successful. There's last time I checked, there was 33 million YouTube channels. Yeah. And out of those, how many of those people actually make a good amount of money? It's very, very, very small.
Yeah.
So it's almost like if you, and Alan spoke to this, you have to plant your flag, and then you have to go find things around you to put on the flag, or to build and create the strength of the foundation. Go grab some mud and put it on there. Mud, Instagram, cool. Mud, Pinterest, cool. But the true thing, the true north, the thing that is supposed to stay forever is what you have to focus on. Then you can have different ideas, but you really have to get that foundation built first. And that's something we've seen is like, somebody will seem like they have a certain level of success, and then when you start digging into it, they're very much, and I don't mean this in a negative way, all over the place behind the scenes. I'm going to do this, I want to do this, I want to try this, I want to try this. When it's like, well, what are you actually trying to accomplish? And it's like, well, I want to get this result. You're not even doing the most important thing for that result, so you're probably not going to get it.
Yeah, I use fitness for this often. If you're out there right now and you want to be in shape, there's really 6 things you need to do daily, and no more, no less. It's this simple. Quite frankly, it's this simple. And we make it so complicated that we don't do it. So oxygen, look at how you're breathing. Make sure you're using your diaphragm. Make sure you're breathing in the gym properly.
Breathe
okay?
Air.
Breathe air consciously and do it, you breathe in and then out during your set. Okay, so oxygen. Second, sleep. Are you sleeping 8 hours consistent per night? At least 7 on the minimum, 9 on the high end. Boom. REM sleep, focused. Awesome. Hydration. Drink water every single day. Take your body weight, multiply it by 0.6. That's how much ounces per water I believe you should drink. You should drink per day. Don't drink it all at once. Do it consistently throughout the day. Nutrition. Macros, carbs, proteins, fats, and calories. How many calories do you need in a day? Hit that whether you want to be in a surplus or a deficit to gain weight or lose weight, build muscle or burn fat. Cool. And then mobility. Are you doing foam rolling? Are you doing stretching, long form? Are you making sure that you stay pliable and young and fit and healthy? That's it. And
Did you say exercise?
Oh no, training, weight training,
Make sure.
and or cardiovascular exercise. You're right. Thank you for that. I'm used to 5.
The
I'm used to
5.
5. Yeah. So there's 6 things that if everyone in this virtual room knows, if I do those 6 things every single day for the rest of my life, I will be very, very strong, fit, and healthy. Period. No matter what your background is, no matter where you came from, no matter what your race or nationality is, it does not matter. If you do those same things every day, you will be strong, fit, and healthy no matter what, aside from very serious, severe medical exceptions. Okay? If you don't, there's almost, no matter what supplement you take, no matter what diet you're on, no matter what, special sleep apnea machine you hook yourself up to, it kind of doesn't matter. You're not going to be fit. And so there is no pill, there is no quick fix, there is no magic bullet. It is the tried and true fundamentals. And like Kevin said, if you can't do we have a podcast pyramid. Kevin created it. We co-created it. And it's an 18-point podcast assessment. I was on the phone with a podcaster. His name's Kamani. He has a podcast called Himprovement. And we jumped on the phone, and I wanted to help him grow his show. Because I'm like, dude, if I knew what I know now, it would have changed everything for us. So let me just help you. We jump on the phone, and I take him through this thing. And it's a pyramid. And the reason it's a pyramid is because the foundation needs to be laid first. The top of the pyramid can only go as high as the foundation can go wide. And if the foundation starts to erode, the whole pyramid will topple. So the very first one is consistency. Consistently record episodes. Again, podcast assessment. If you don't have that, you can't go to the next rung. Do you remember the next rung?
I think it's quality. It's either quality content or quality equipment. Because you tune into a podcast and the audio quality is not there, you're not going to stick around for very long.
Right. Okay, so let's do this. I'm going to ask Kevin, what are the 5 most important fundamentals if you want to start a podcast where if variety doesn't matter until you can do these 5?
Consistency. Let me turn this off. Doesn't distract me. Number 1 is consistency. Number 2 is quality equipment. Number 3 is quality content. Number 4 is speaking to your... And when I say quality content, I mean knowing what you're talking about. Not guessing or not, having the ability to communicate a point effectively. Number 4, I would say is... It's hard because there's so many. Building relationships is unreasonably important.
With your listeners?
Because no matter where you are, it's such a hack.
One of them was knowing your ICA.
That's number 5. I was going to say.
Okay.
I think that's number 4, and then the other one's number 5. Knowing your demographic. If I'm talking about sports cars, if I'm using references, and Alan and I are guilty of this for sure. We're guilty of using examples and what's the word I'm looking for?
references, analogies
that might not land with our listeners. Like a lot of our listeners, and I think this is starting to shift and we're starting to open up, but primarily we're women for a long time. Yeah. And you and I are talking about NFL and I'm talking about fighting, and that might not land with that demographic, where when you start talking about maybe people pleasing, that sort of thing, then that might land better with your demographic. So I think, but again, it's like consistency is the most important.
By far.
You could have the best podcast in the world and talk exactly to your demographic with the best equipment in the world, and you could have an amazing community, but that community will die if you don't nurture it through content. So if you're doing an episode a month, the impact you're going to have is just not going to be as big.
No one remembers Blockbuster. It doesn't exist anymore.
I remember
Blockbuster too.
R.I.P.
But like, it doesn't exist anymore, so no one goes to Blockbuster anymore because they couldn't stay in business and stay consistent. And that's just all it is. Streaming became a big deal. Blockbuster didn't get on the streaming train quick enough, and they lost sight of the fundamentals, and that's what happened. And if you're out there right now, don't end up being a feature creep. A feature creep is trying to do the 18th point on the podcast assessment before they do the first one. Mm-hmm. And honestly, this is what I help my clients with. I help them stop doing all this other stuff that's taking up time, energy, and focus in this crazy, global, internet-driven, distracting world, and I'm just like, these are the 12 things. Do these every day, and you'll succeed. If you don't, you won't. I love you either way, but this is the truth. And they crush it. They crush it, and then eventually they lose sight of what brought them there, and then they dip for a little while, and then they go back. And at this point, we have dozens of people on peak performance tracking. That's all peak performance tracking is. It's customized habits geared for mathematical, statistical, compound effect success for each individual. And it's unbelievable what happens when you actually stick to the fundamentals.
I'm going to need you to pull the episodes up again. You just panic moved and turned off the TV up there. I don't know what was going on. It is consistency at the end of the day. If you do the fundamentals consistently, you will see greater results than most people, because most people just don't do them. I think it should be feature creature.
Feature creature. I like it.
That's my new. Yeah. I'm going to steal.
Don't be a feature. Don't be a feature creature.
Feature creature. It sounds better than feature creep.
It does.
It just doesn't flow. Who came up with that? Somebody over at iRobot. I came up with that.
Feature creature.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's hard. This is hard. Okay, I want to preface it. It's hard to do this because many of us are variety driven, right? So like, what? Okay, before we go, what's one step that people can take to start?
Give up list.
Okay.
You have to decide on things you want to give up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, Alan and I both. So we're blessed to say that our number 4, group 4 of coaching.
Oh, yeah.
We ended up getting more than 10 people, which is amazing. We appreciate the opportunity.
11.
We got 11 people. So that'll start up in a couple months. We'll probably start another group. But Alan and I both have spots available for one-on-one. If you are a podcaster or you want to start a podcast, please reach out to me. I know it might seem overwhelming. It might seem expensive. We have services for, whether you're a first-time podcaster or you're somebody who runs your business through it, we can help you at Next Level Podcast Solutions. Alan is doing peak performance business coaching, but also he has a unique ability to unlock things in people, just human optimization. That's what I'm going to start saying. You like that?
I like it.
Since I'm talking about it. So you can reach out to us. All of our information, as always, is in the show notes. And we love when you guys reach out, you guys and gals reach out. Please do. We love the opportunity to chat with you offline, and I promise we are as nice in person virtually as we are when we do the podcast.
There's nothing that matters to us more than the listeners. And if you're a listener of this show, reach out to Kevin and I. And even if you have no reason to reach out other than saying, hi, I'm a listener.
It's a good reason.
I'm really grateful for you. We just want to hear and connect with listeners as much as humanly possible. It's so cool. I looked it up on Google. There's 4.66 billion people on the internet. And we are trying to attract the most next level people who really have goals and dreams and who support goals and dreams. And if you are one of those people, please reach out. We're going to be thrilled. Don't be intimidated. Please reach out.
I want to look up something quick, so keep talking.
Awesome. So I just want to say group 5. So we had group 1, 2, and 3. Group 1 was Ambitious Army. Group 2 was Gratitude with Attitude. Group 3 was Tribe of Abundance. Group 4 is called Pursuit of Excellence. Mm-hmm. And Group 5 will be opening in January of 2022. We're going to do one group per quarter from now on. So if you want to get on the waiting list for that group, because that will fill, there's no question, let us know ASAP because we'll make sure you get priority. So we are going to be raising the price. It's going to be $147 per month for 3 months. We've realized the value is through the roof, and it's really, really important for us to make sure that we serve at that greater level. And also, when you raise the price, only the more committed people are willing to jump in, and we want to make sure we have quality over quantity in those groups, because a team of like-minded people who all, when you pay attention. It's a commitment level, right? All right, so that said, next level business solutions. You don't necessarily have to have a business. I do have some clients who want help in their careers. If you want me to help you hone in this variety-driven nature and create a system and a structure that works for you, please reach out. The first call is completely free. DM me on Instagram or email me, and we will get back to you.
How many podcasts do you think there are, if you had to guess?
1.5 million.
2.66 million. So because of you guys, I want to give gratitude, and I want to give appreciation that Alan and I are blessed because we get to do this every day, and it's because we have amazing listeners. So we have a top 1% podcast because of our amazing community. And obviously, we show up and we're consistent and we're committed and we try to do all the right things, but we would not be able to do this without you. So we appreciate you. And I just want to give a bit of gratitude back to our amazing community. Our next episode, playing to win versus playing not to lose. That's a great title.
Mm-hmm.
Who came up with that?
Jeff.
No, that was Jeff. Yeah, Jeff.
Me.
You. Yeah.
Yeah. Nice.
You're Jeff. Great work. Ladies and gentlemen, as always, thank you again for giving us the opportunity to do this. We love you. We appreciate you. And we do not have fans. We have family. Talk to you tomorrow.
Talk to you soon.